Now, I want you to go to header.jsx, and now we're going to say import connect at the top from React Redux. And we're going to import set search term from /action creators. Okay. We come down here for default props, get rid of handle search term change. Get rid of search term, because these are no longer optional types, right? You also are going to get rid of the maybe types here. So get rid of the question marks, because now it's just always going to be reading from Redux, and it's just only going to occasionally be using it. Okay, then down here at the bottom, you're still going to have a default prop for show search. You're going to say const map state to props equals state, which is going to return an object of search term colon state dot search term. And you're going to have a const map dispatch to props, which is going to be equal to dispatch, which is a function. And again, you're going to be returning an object with a handle search term change. And all that's going to do is take an event, which is going to be a, oh, actually, I don't think you even have to type this one. And you're going to dispatch a set search term, set from event.target.value. Did I import this up there? No, I guess I didn't. This is, sorry, this should be set search term. Yep. And then down here, we're just going to connect. Map state to props, map dispatch to props. And that is it. Yep, cool. Whew. So the nice thing is we had this handle search term change that was coming in as a prop before, right? The nice thing is we don't have to refactor that because that's already the contract that we had there. So it's totally fine to leave that as is. So now handle search term change and search term are both going to be required. Show search term is still a maybe type because it might be coming, it might not be. And then, yeah, we're going to have this input that may or may not be reading from Redux depending on which context it's called in. So let's save that and refresh. Yep, still getting some errors, which is doesn't matter. So now if I say, like, I'm going to search for black and I hit enter, I'm going to go to the landing page with that filled in from Redux, right? Right, and then I can modify it up here and it's still going to be reading from Redux. Another cool thing, as a nice byproduct of this, if I click into Atlanta and then I click back, it's still going to have the same search term because that's being perpetuated in Redux, right? Nothing's modifying Redux when I go there. Something else that actually is a problem, if I go back to SVideo, right? Well, I mean, it's still reading Atlanta, that's fine. But if I say or browse all, I actually technically haven't fixed that yet. But the only thing you'd have to do is, if they clicked it, dispatch an action to Redux to clear out the search term, and that's fine. I'm not going to do it here because I literally just explained to you how to do it, I have all faith that you can go and do it. Any questions? It only took us 2 hours, but we've at least completed the first bit of migrating to Redux. It is pretty cool. I mean, the trade-off here is that, like, for example, if you look at search got a lot more simple, right? Search used to have to worry about state and passing props into the right header and all that kind of stuff. It no longer has to care about that because search in and of itself, really all it wants to do is read search term and do searching, and it doesn't actually want to read and write to Redux, right? It can leave that problem to header. So by virtue of that, it doesn't have to care anymore because it only matters where you're actually doing the writing, and the writing is actually happening in header and it's not happening in search. So that is a nicety, right? It's going to externalize this reading and writing to your data store into like separate files and separate functions, and it's going to simplify your React components. That's a net positive in my opinion, right? However, we greatly complicated the process of reading and writing to our state, right? It's deliberate. It's very deliberate, which is a good thing in general, right? But it's a pain. Yeah, it's just more code, right? It's more code and more things to think about, which is always hard. What we'll talk about tomorrow is we'll talk about testing Redux, because you can see, as you may imagine, a lot of the stuff that we just did, like the action creators and the reducers, are extremely testable. So that's going to be really positive for us. And I'm going to show you how to actually have Redux generate tests for itself, which is pretty cool. Any questions about Redux? I have shown you the happy path for Redux. This is most of what Redux is. It's just dispatching actions into the reducers and letting the reducers take care of things, which then update the store, which then gets fed back into the UI, right? That's most of Redux. Everything else is an advanced use case. I would also say you can actually write Redux only ever doing stuff like this. I will show you tomorrow how to do asynchronous stuff. You can actually externalize the asynchronous stuff and never write it in Redux, but you wouldn't do that, I guess.